Is it possible to use meditative consciousness to predict events before they happen or as they happen? Psychic abilities to capture intelligence, the ultimate power to spy on your enemy without them ever knowing who and what and when. What happens when one centralized force knows about everything? How might they use this on their enemies? And how might they use this on you or me? This week on the Too Soon podcast.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal, as if in a dream.
It's crazy, dude. They're not hiding this from us at all. The mysterious fantasies of the mind.
The power of pure intellect.
The product of a tortured brain. If we had the power to open our mind, we could see this is right in front of our faces.
You're where you want to be. And you're doing what you want to do in your mind.
The pure idiot bliss and complacency of this realm is unfathomable.
It's a brain that remembers and feels and suffers.
Too Soon podcast will now self-destruct. Goodbye.
So let me be the first one to do it again. This is like starting to feel great. What happens? Like, why is it that Wednesday? I feel like we put the show out on Wednesday and like shit hits the fan on Wednesday. Have you noticed this at all? Like,
Not really. I mean, I'm sure some stuff has happened, but I'm just like desensitized.
so Wednesday, let me put you this way. All right, here are the 4 Wednesdays. Here are the 4 Wednesdays of January 2021 so far, right? The 4 Wednesdays.
Prophetic.
The first one is the Capitol riot. All right. The second one is them walking articles of impeachment to Congress for Trump. Then the third one was the inauguration of Joe Biden and the creation of the Corpse Fortress. And the fourth one was now recently the stock situation. And last week we talked about controlled cryptocurrency. And we also talked about Janet Yellen, who is like the first female Treasury Secretary. And this whole GameStop thing happens on Wednesday, right? And none other than Janet Yellen herself is caught with a somewhere around $800,000 of speaking fees that were paid to her the week before this happens, right? And they're paid to her by Citadel.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck? So I don't know. It's just weird. Like every Wednesday when this show comes out, we start to talk about something earlier in the week and we're like, I feel like I'm putting this show out and I'm like, well, fuck. You know what I mean? It just goes to show, man, like you can totally guess what's going to happen if you use remote viewing. That's the trick. Just have to use meditative consciousness to figure out what is going to happen when it happens. I'm just kidding. I'm not using this shit.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So, I don't know. Should we go into it now? I feel like I want to fucking talk about these crying billionaires real first. Like, I want to address. Let's address the beautiful part of the whole week, which is all of these people crying. Like, this is the moment of healing that we needed.
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious people can not only see the emotion on your face, but hear it in your voice when you talk about this, Lee. Why?
I care. That's it.
It's fucking beautiful.
Oh no, I'm making 1.3 billion a year instead of 1.5.
Real tears from real billionaires.
Wow.
On live television. I love how So something else crazy happened. Last week we talked about controlling cryptocurrency. And also, I guess this happened maybe like Friday or something like that. India is now implementing they're pretty much coming out and saying we need a global currency. And they're also restricting the use of cryptocurrencies in their country. So it's like, the fuck's happening? I don't know. Maybe it's just, it's all in our face and it's just kind of happening. But the crying billionaires, man. Wow. I mean, it was just, you want to talk about getting off on live television. Holy shit, that was beautiful. And they're all like, we're just scared for these people. We care about these people. They're going to invest and they're going to lose all their money.
No, you're going to lose money because you got to buy all them fucking stocks back.
Right? And they don't address that at all. I don't get it. The best part was they asked Joe Biden's new press secretary, who she was like, I think one of Obama's press secretaries. So they're all acting like, oh, she's back. Oh my God. And she's the worst, dude. She's like the most stale fucking Triscuit eating bitch I've ever fucking listened to in my life. And they asked her, hey, are you going to address any of the issues with GameStop stock? Is Joe Biden addressing any of those issues later? And she just goes, no.
Do you anticipate President Biden to address the GameStop controversy when he meets with his economic team a little bit later this morning?
No.
Like plain Jane, no. And then just says some bullshit, but like says no, looks at the notes, and then says some horse shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, she's the worst, man. She's always like saying, like people are always asking questions like journalists do. And she's just like, I'll circle back to you on that one.
I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you. I'll circle back with you if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back with you. I'm happy to circle back with you. I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. That's an excellent question. Oh, such an important question. We will circle back with you, and we'll circle back with you. It's an interesting question, but we'll circle back. I'm happy to circle back, but I'll have to circle back with you on it. It's a good question, but we'll circle back with you on this today. We will certainly circle back with you more directly. I hate to disappoint you, but I will have to circle back with you on that as well.
It's like she doesn't understand this. Like, bitch, you're circling back to like the people watching too. You know? I don't know. It's pretty fun to watch though. Pretty unifying moment to see all this shit happening. There's some other bullshit going on with like silver now. Have you seen that?
No.
I don't give a shit about these like stocks. Like, I'm not really into it. It kind of irritates me how many people are just like, I'm into stocks now. But like,
yeah. I saw a tweet that was actually really funny. I knew it was a joke, but they're like, oh, in my 3 days of selling stocks, I've never seen the market like this.
Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, I just saw a thing, but Popeye's Chicken put up a ad that says, let's get these tendies, and then tagged GameStop, AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry, and put hashtag tendies for y'all.
What the fuck?
And it's just like an ad that says, they're for everyone, free tendies for all. Like, what the fuck? And I guess you have to use the promo codes like GameStop, like using the stock as the promo code, I guess. I don't fucking know, man. What the fuck is happening, dude?
BOGO tendies at Popeyes.
Oh, if I lived close to a Popeyes, I'd be losing it. Fucking ridiculous, man.
They just want a chicken sandwich debacle again.
Yeah. We always end up talking about chicken on this show.
Hey, man.
Best chicken I ever had was like gas station chicken. No, best best like fast food chicken I've ever had. Hip Hop Fish and Chicken. You ever been there?
No.
It's like I think it's a Maryland thing, maybe like a Beltway thing. Maybe like there's one in DC too, but there's one in Baltimore. We used to walk by the one in Baltimore all the time. You remember?
Oh yeah,
it's right by the strip club there. Yeah, Hip Hop Fish and Chicken. They just have fucking TVs and mirrors in the fucking ceiling and shit, so it looks like there's a million TVs in there when you're drunk, and they're just blaring fucking music, and there's just fresh like fried fish and fried chicken and fucking, it's delicious. I took my mother-in-law there once. She loved it. Anyway, I don't know what to think about the situation. Like now this whole silver thing though, that's what I was kind of talking about, was like they're saying that, hey, we should short silver because if we could short silver, apparently like 8 major banks have shorted um some of these like silver assets or whatever. So if people can inflate silver, then they can fuck these banks over entirely. And I can't remember what bank it was, but they put out like an actual they put out like a statement about, hey, if you do this, you know what I mean? And then like now I'm starting to think it's like, okay, well, who's actually in control here? Because like the mainstream spin is like, oh, this is bad because people are openly manipulating the market in broad daylight. And it's like, well, yeah, this happens all the fucking time in broad daylight. You just don't talk about it, you know? All the obvious shit that you've heard for the past week, blah, blah, blah. But then this whole silver thing, it kind of seems to me, it's like, well, if you really wanted to drop the hammer on people and make their lives miserable with a bank, then wouldn't you kind of like stage an attack against yourself, maybe using the stock market? I don't know. It kind of sketches me out. And that's why I wouldn't ever get involved. You know what I mean? Just personally, like crypto, I'm cool with that. But nah, not for me. Stock market, I'm good.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's one of my coworkers. I'd talked to you about this, but he got like a couple GameStop stocks when they were like $80, and now he's like having his girlfriend like text him during work about it. Like she's in his Robinhood account, like looking at it, like going up and down, because he's trying to wait for a dip.
Yeah.
So he can buy like more, because he has 4, but he wants 10 more. And he's like, oh, it's going to 1,000, baby. It's going to 1,000.
Jesus.
I'm like, man, it's like hard locked. I haven't looked at it, but it was hard locked at like 325.
I think the last I saw it was like 280 or something. I saw it was going down. See, that's another thing is I don't know. I guess I'm not really watching, but still, it's great to see the actual it's great to see the actual stock market like getting hit right now, because usually after any sort of fucking election, especially with Joe Biden he has 40 executive orders, dude. 40 in his first 2 weeks, I guess now. And that's supposedly more than people have done in 2 months. So usually when there's executive orders, the stock market takes a fucking pretty steep increase because there's kickbacks. You know what I mean? So all the rich motherfuckers are super excited. And maybe that's what was going on, was they were getting ready to short all these stocks and whatever, and, do whatever with the fucking money. And these people came in from Reddit and completely fucked them over, which everybody's on their side. And we all agree with that. Like, I don't think most people agree or would agree that we should just feel bad for the crying billionaires.
Yeah. You caught somebody with their pants down and fucking spanked them raw, man. Good job.
I want to meet the person that's, I don't know. I feel like on Twitter, I could definitely meet the people. I've definitely met people that apologize for corporations on Twitter. So I feel like it's not a stretch to say, hey, there's somebody out there that's going to apologize for the stock market or apologize for hedge funds or whatever, Don't know, man. The stock market's weird. I kind of
I mean, there's a reason you can make a career out of it from just being at home. Like, you can just be a day trader, and people are like, oh, okay, I know exactly what that is.
You can be whatever and be a fucking stockbroker or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. You can sit at home and do it and just move money around. That's what a lot of people do. But you can also be a fucking roided out freak. You know what I mean? Like, just moving shit around
on Wall
day.
Street.
Essentially, yeah. I got weirded out about the stock market during like the March on Wall Street days, really, but which I hope they're going to start doing again, which would be fucking cool. I'm all for like protesting billionaires. We should definitely do that are fucking people over. But I kind of started looking into things a lot more about the stock market back then, and then I found myself looking into like this, I think it was this program called Aladdin. And essentially what Aladdin does is it was like one of the first algorithm based, essentially it was a computer. It was a giant, it was when servers in a room or a fucking giant building were considered one giant computer, right? And it just predicted each dip and each, movement of each stock. And that's when they learned, okay, do this now, do this then. You know what I mean? Like, because none of it makes sense, right? But this was like the late 70s, early 80s when they were implementing this technology, when like banks were like plainly using software to figure out when the best, possible risk was, or the least amount of risk was to move their money around, right? Super fucking strange. But on the subject, it kind of reminded me of something I've been rabbit holed in called remote viewing. And essentially, remote viewing is the power to use meditative consciousness to predict a series of events, where a person or a place or a thing is. And what's interesting about remote viewing is it was used by our government in the United States, and then also used as kind of a pet project to give to other countries, right? If they felt they needed it or they were interested in it. Now, back when we had the Cold War was at its height, and we were trying to figure out, we were going through the MK Ultra and mind control experiments and all that kind of shit. While that was happening, and we knew the KGB had information on, their mind control subjects, their procedures or whatever, we started learning of scientists that were using meditative consciousness and they were actually predicting things. It was actual psychic powers used by these scientists to predict to a T where and when things were happening. And it was like upwards of 85% of a success each time. Like they could describe and draw to a point. Like they would let me give you like kind of an example. They would send somebody to a disclosed location, right? And they would know nothing about that person or whatever, where they were going, whatever. And they could then take this other person who had these abilities, right? And they could flat out draw, explain, and show their location, where they were, what they were doing, and everything around them. And they were able to do it like not just once, like all the time. And there weren't just like single subjects that were able to do this. There were a shitload of scientists that learned this theory. And the weird thing about most of those scientists, there's one they follow around, right? And his name is, he's been kind of exploiting this for a long time. He worked for like the Stanford Research Institute. And his name's Russ Targ, not Tang. And the guy's like legally blind, right? But he has some sort of vision. Like he's got magnified glasses. He's able to see. Most badass thing about him, he rides a motorcycle. He's like legally blind, but also rides a motorcycle. Pretty fucking badass. But apparently, I think he knows about this and he's studied it, and he's been involved in test subjects and stuff like that. So he's seen it for himself. But he actually knows some of these subjects, you know what I mean, that are able to do this kind of shit. And it's fucking mind blowing, man. Like, and at first you're kind of like, whatever, is bullshit. Like it's psychic power, you know what I mean? But then when you start to think of like, well, if you could use a actual psychic to figure out what's going on wherever in the world, like what can't you do with that? It's fucking crazy, dude, that you could actually, they had one guy who was actually able to, I guess they walk into a room together, right? And he's sitting there and he looks at this wall in his office and he's got a map of the globe. And on the map, he's got these push pins in these areas and they're all in the water or all in the oceans. And he's like, hey, why are you like, what's up with all the pins? And none of them are on land. And he's like, oh, I'm actually echolocating all of the submarines right now. I know where they're all at.
What the fuck?
I'm just like, well, what the fuck? It's really crazy to think of, and they don't, obviously they're not going to teach you in any sort of fucking form how to do this, but I guess after, to fast forward and kind of button up just the backstory, they stopped using this in around 95, like 1995. There's a big air quotes on stopped. You know, I don't know what the fuck they've actually done further from this. This was now what, 26 years ago that they stopped doing this, supposedly. But they supposedly used remote viewing in like 800 successful missions, at least. Those were like on the books. And it had an efficacy of 85% plus, to where they were able to retrieve somebody, something, somewhere. Dude, they had Jimmy Carter. I guess he wrote a book a few years ago, maybe like 2016, 2015. And in his book, he explained a moment where they asked, there was a question where he's like, have you ever seen, like, in your time in office, what was something that you just could not explain? And there's an excerpt where he talks about our military did something in like in the late 70s that just blew my mind, and I couldn't comprehend it for the rest of my life. A jet crashed somewhere in Africa in the jungle, and the U.S. forces wanted to get to it before the Soviet forces, right? So they used remote viewing, and somebody was able to remote view where this plane crashed, and it was fucking there. And they retrieved like nuclear weapons from this jet before Russians did. And what? And in his book, he's just like, that was one thing in my time in and as president that I could not explain. It's fucking insane, dude. Like, if you can do that, like, if you can, like, what is reality at that point? Like, if you can say, okay, we stripped away the walls, I can now look into any private fucking, I can use a psychic medium that is a paid operative of the government. They have to do what I tell them to do, right? If I can then use that power to find out what's going on in North Korea in a closed door meeting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can do a lot worse shit than that.
I mean, how do you even use that to do anything good? That's your government taking care of you, you know? It's like, hey, we got to figure out how to like mind control and also like manipulate or we got to know what's going on before anybody else. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's like that movie Men Who Stare at Goats.
Exactly. Which is supposedly based on I think it's supposedly based on something that happened at the Stanford Research Institute, which we know, like, what was that prison experiment they did there?
Yeah.
It's where they pretty much, that's where how they figured out about like Stockholm syndrome and fucking, they pretty much created the recipe for the prison industrial experiment. You know what I mean? Like, let's lock these people in cells, treat them like animals, and then watch as the people who have been there for X amount of days become their fucking overlords. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Watch how corrupt the system gets instantly. Like, they've known, you know? And they're still perpetuating it. It doesn't make any sense. But remote viewing, man, that like opens up another, you know, a lot of people hear like, oh, you use psychic powers. Like, I don't believe in that shit. Bullshit. Well, apparently, you know, like, I don't know if I believe in psychics either. Like, I can't tell you if I do or don't, but shit, man, like, I kind of have to take it on their word that they've used it, you know? I would imagine that they have. Apparently they've, like, just a situation with finding a crashed jet with nuclear weapons, they were able to do it. You know, like, it's kind of documented that, hey, we used remote viewing. the end of this this little wrap up though is after 95 they started sending some of our scientists to Russia and teaching courses on how to use remote viewing. And they would literally go through classes, man, where they'd sit there and be like, hey, I was in the army for fucking 20 years. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach you this course on psychologic fucking, remote viewing. And they'd sit down, they give them essentially a packet and directive actions, orders or whatever to do. And they go through this class with them, and each one of them would have something separate that they were supposed to remote view. There's one guy, like he starts going through the course, and he ends up like, I think after like a day and a half, he's able to, he knows no knowledge of what his subject is, right? And then he's able to use this remote viewing and these altered levels of consciousness to actually view. He's like, I see something and it's on the moon. Like he knows it's on the moon. For some reason, he catches the moon right away. And then he goes to, there's some sort of figure on it, like a spider, like something with legs, which is really weird because they talk about how the subject's able to kind of see a overhead view. So they're like mentally leaving their bodies almost,
Astral projecting.
I don't know if it's like astral projecting, and I don't know much about astral projecting, so I can't say, but essentially one of the astronauts, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Buzz Aldrin or any of them, but there was an astronaut who came back from the moon, and he believed in this shit. And when he came back, he started talking about this ancient script that had been kept through history called like samadhi. And that's like it's a state of meditative consciousness that you can achieve. And it's like an ancient language that's apparently, he said he saw things in space that like dated back to that period of whatever. It's embedded in some religion and Hinduism and Buddhism and whatever. But wouldn't it be absolutely fucking nuts if 20, 30 years from now you were able to use this, like the public was able to use this, you know what I mean? Like, are we going there? Like, are we getting to the point like where people can actually just like, hey, don't want to hang out in your own body or your own brain? Cool. Just like learn how to fucking meditate and you can go anywhere.
I feel like virtual reality is going to kind of take most of that.
Well, wouldn't it be bullshit though? I mean, if basically they're saying it really comes down to like being a kid. You remember when you were like a kid and you had like major imagination, you could fucking imagine whatever you wanted, and you could just play like a child, you know what I mean? You could pretend, right? You had these like abilities then, even to just like, man, I remember when I was a kid and I could rub two fucking sticks together and have a good time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't need a fucking virtual headset. That's what I'm saying. Like, is creating like a virtual reality, like separate from our own reality, is that actually a manipulation on us? Is it actually like saying, hey, yeah, you can do it. You got to pay for it though. Like if we have proof that, hey, you can do this, you don't need, apparently you can just take some fucking classes. Apparently you can just sign up at community college to fucking astral project or remote view your fucking neighbors having sex next door if you want. I don't know. But is that what it is on us? Are they saying, hey, yeah, we can definitely do this. This is the future, like you said. But you got to pay for it.
I mean, it's just like anything else. If it catches any traction with people, then someone's going to have to try to, they're going to make money somewhere.
I don't know, man. Just seems like, that shouldn't be the way it goes. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you should give people the tools to be better people, right? Like, what's at the end of the road, right? And there's a lot of arguments here. Is like, if you have the ability to do this, what's at the end of the road? I would imagine people have the ultimate amount of consciousness to where they could see anything, right? So they kind of would realize that, oh, my physical body's bullshit. Like, after I'm dead, I'm able to do this still. You know what I mean?
I could just imagine the petty shit people would do with it.
Like what?
Like trying to figure out if your significant other's cheating on you. You're just like shoot out of your body just to follow them.
Okay, let's see what else you would. All right, spying on your. I mean, essentially, like you'd use it to spy. That's the thing. Like,
yeah. I mean, what else would you do it for? It's like you're leaving your body. It's like you're searching the
come
internet.
on, bro. Where would you go?
Where would I go?
would leave this fucking planet, dog.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. I would go to like a Jupiter moon or something like that. That would be like my first fucking stop. And I'd wear a lead vest. Be ready to fucking go.
Would you even need anything, though? You'd be a fucking ethereal form.
Right? I don't know. That's a good question. If you leave this dimension, this world, do you need... do you got to pack some fucking shit, bro?
I mean,
What if that's how they do this shit, man? What if that's how they do it? And they're like, okay, I need to use physical objects to manifest what's happening or where I'm going. Wouldn't you have to?
It's literally the scene in Interstellar, okay?
Exactly.
Where he's talking to himself in the past, and they see the alien, and he's just like light bending over a humanoid form.
Yeah.
It's that kind of shit, 100%.
It's like what... I guess there's no... If this is all true, right? If these are all true things, there's no like... So it kind of eliminates all these problems that we've made up, right? And at the end of the day, we're going to look back and we're going to point the finger if this is to happen. Like if this is true and people are actually able to do this kind of shit, we would look back on the people running the world that kept this from human beings as like a slave driver, right?
Yeah.
Like it would be some really crazy shit. I don't think it would happen instantly, right? Like it wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, they figured out you can actually remote view. You can fucking, just fall asleep and take fucking 2 of these pills. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't think there's going to be a moment like that. I don't. But wouldn't it be deemed a crime against humanity to keep this from your own people?
Yeah, there'd definitely be like some kind of like demonizing of it all, just to like suppress an urge. It'd be like obvious like religion and the kind of archaic rules that some religions follow. Like you can't do this or else you're going to hell. This is a sin. ... Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Just to keep you like contained and sedated, docile, in line, whatever.
It's pretty wild. Like that is an offshoot of MK Ultra, and it's pretty wild that that's just one of them. Like what the fuck happened with MK Ultra to where they were just like, all right, now that we figured this out, like once they figured out they could control a mind, they figured out they could fucking do unlimited things with it, obviously. And it's just continued to play out throughout our own reality. I'm just concerned how it's shifting reality for people. Like you said, keeping them docile and keeping them like honest, like medicated, like how is that actually taking place? Because it has to be taking place. Like we know there's like psychological warfare being waged on us all the time. Like people have been more aware than ever with COVID, right? Like now they're saying wear fucking 3 masks, wear 7 masks. Come on, like whatever.
There are many people who feel, if you really want to have an extra little bit of protection, maybe I should put 2 masks on. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no data that indicates that is going to make a difference. And that's the reason why.
Like it's an ideology for your fear, right? So it's a control, it's a manipulation. And I just think that 50 years from now, I have really hope 50 years from now, we're living in some cyborg shit, you know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, I mean, it'd be cool where it's like, hey, actually, you don't need that Neuralink in your brain. You could just use this meditative process that religion handed you like thousands and thousands of years ago, God,
everything we talk about like that sounds like an 80s movie, man.
It's the vibe here.
Yeah. It's literally like Total Recall, basically.
They put fucking like all the RoboCops on YouTube without ads. So I've just been like,
really?
They did, dude. And
wow,
they don't have to have like a premium account or anything like that. But I was like, all right, my wife has never seen any of the RoboCops, so we've just been on like a fucking RoboCop binge. Been pretty.
Did
great.
You watch RoboCop 2?
Yes.
You know the kid?
The kid. Oh yeah, yeah.
The kid that shoots him.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, "Got you, fucker."
Yeah, yeah.
Or whatever he says. That's the kid that does the voice of Littlefoot in Land Before Time.
Oh my god, you're right. Holy shit. There's so many good, like, dude, there's so many like Easter egg actors in 80s movies too. Like even just like in RoboCop 1, just having like Red Foreman as the fucking most evil fucking character. I mean, it's just great. You know what I mean?
He fully sent that role.
He really fucking did.
God, his head is big.
Dumbass!
I just and so the only thing about the YouTube ones is they're censored. But
so you don't get to see that dude get shot to shit.
No, you see all the violence, but you just don't hear motherfucker, you hear mother crusher. The censorship, like that kind of censorship's so fucking stupid, man. Like the censorship, like that's that kind of censorship. Like even when we were kids, where it's like, oh, it says fuck on it. I want that.
Yeah, because it was just a big sticker.
Yeah.
You saw a parental advisory warning or whatever, and you're like, gotta have it.
Yeah.
Or the opposite of what it was for.
You remember the other one that was good? Uncut.
Yeah.
That was one for a while. Like it was like, oh shit, this is uncut. We can't watch this. There's boobies in it. Or there's fucking a fuck in there. Or there's fucking a fuck, bro.
You go to FYE and go to the adult section, and like they just have those little covers over everything.
Yes.
So you just look behind them and you see like anime titties.
Don't you think it's stupid that like you ever like typing something on your iPhone and you're like trying to send the letter fuck, like you're trying to say fuck, right? And it
changes it to duck.
Yeah, it changes it to duck. Or it's like you're trying to say hell and it'll change it to heal with like a fucking comma, or like an apostrophe or some shit. Fucking Apple, who do they think they are? Like they're like, don't swear, please. You know what I mean? Like, meanwhile, we got slaves. We got to keep people from killing themselves, but like, please don't swear. Like, use a different word.
If you have a group chat, all right, I'm speaking into the void. If anybody is listening, if you have an iPhone group chat, just start typing predictive text to each other.
Yes, you can press. My favorite one to do is predictive text and just keep hitting the middle one.
Yeah,
because it's like the immediate option. It tells you a lot about yourself, and it tells you a lot about your friends too.
Yeah.
You can see who says what in their private conversations usually. You know what I mean? It is great. Predictive text. We got predictive text spamming.
I don't know when that started with us, but we'll just do it like randomly, like every couple months. Someone will do it and like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. And then you get a stream of bullshit. And then someone's like, what are you guys doing?
It's fucking great. Yeah. I mean, usually nobody knows what's going on, and that's one of the best parts of it. You're like spamming the middle button of predictive text, and the text message is like, I want y'all out the door so we can have the party and you love me because I went to the store and didn't get any of the, yes, we had to go outside today. And it was, it's fucking great. It's a lot of fun. And then you can wrap it up with a good one. Usually, I mean, you get good at it. You'll get better at it to the point where you're saying shit like, yeah, and then we on the way and had the day out and then I saw you and you looked great today. And
Yeah, you got to learn how to end your impossible sentence.
It's a lot of fucking fun. Predictive text spamming. Just bought a new car today. And it's a piece of shit. I'm pretty excited about it.
What is it?
I got a 1988 Toyota. Like it's pretty much a drug dealer car. It's like it tells you your birthday. And like I just set it to my birthday being every fucking day. So when you get in, it's got automatic seatbelts, all that shit. And you start it up and it fucking and it starts fucking singing like a 8-bit version of fucking Happy Birthday or some shit. Gives you like a little level up sound when you start the car. It's pretty cool. Good time, man.
Really?
Yeah, $250, man.
This doesn't sound like a 1988 creation.
It was so this was like one of the Toyotas that they used to sell off. Like they created this one and then they made like the Toyota Avalon and they made the, what's it called? Like one of the first Lexus, like the Lexus sedans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's like just a really old, shitty version of that. Pretty great.
Their attempt at luxury.
Yes. It's got it's got the red, like, suede interior. You would love it.
It's gonna be a bitch to clean.
Yeah, I don't know. Felt like I was fucking 17 years old, man. I bought it for $250 fucking dollars, and I didn't even know how well it ran, and it didn't run well at all. And I was like, well, let's put it to the test. And I just drove the whole way from my house about like 25 miles. It had been sitting for like a year. Got it started up, and I was like, let's see if it makes it, and then I'll know if it's good or not. made it fucking home great, dude. That thing cruised like a motherfucker. Oh shit. Well, fuck, boy. You been doing? Are they? You doing okay this week, man? You good?
Yeah. Stuff's going on, but I handle it.
I know you handle it, but you like, come on, you good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You good?
100%. Not 100, but
You need to watch. I'm trying to think, what's a good '80s funny movie? Okay, wait. Have you watched UHF?
Not in a while.
You should watch that tonight.
That could be the linchpin.
You should watch that tonight. That fucking movie will cheer anybody up. It's about the saddest motherfucker too. It is a Weird Al Yankovic movie. If none of you have heard, I've seen it before. I highly recommend you do.
It's of your meme-like consciousness because he just starts or picks up a random TV channel and gets to figure out what people want to see by like ridiculously failing by putting on what he wants, and it just goes fucking crazy. And since he's a prop comic or whatever,
I'll never forget that quote from the guy who's the like lead news guy. I think about it all the time. He's like, I care more about this town than a festering bowl of dog snot. Watch UHF, dude. You need to watch UHF, and you're gonna feel a lot better.
I've been watching on HBO Max. They put a bunch of Adult Swim stuff on, including Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule.
Isn't it like $60 a month or some shit?
Well, the funny thing about that, I get it for free through my fucking AT&T.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But isn't it like $60 a month without it?
I don't know, man.
It's expensive.
It might only be like 25.
That still seems like too much.
Or 30.
You know how much my fucking internet is? I keep tweeting at Elon Musk, and I'm like, hey, Elon, fucking take the handcuffs off my internet. And then I'm like tagging my fucking bill, and it's
Where's
stupid.
my data?
Please. I'm waiting for a fucking tweet back that's just like, buy Ethereum. Buy Dogecoin.
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 Man, it's
I got a
put
Joe
$5
Biden
into
stutter.
that shit.
If anybody didn't know.
$5 in the Dogecoin, and I watched it tank to like $1.79 over 72 hours. I bought it when they were like 6 cents, these Dogecoins, and they went down to 2.3 cents.
Huh.
And I was like, this is dog shit.
Yeah, not fucking around with it this week, man. I'm going to keep my money in physical assets for now. Because people like shit, apparently, you know?
Facebook Marketplace, man.
Ugh, go fuck yourself. If you want to check out the show on Twitter, go to toosoon_podcast. If you like Instagram, you can go to Too Soon Podcast Sucks. Like having a low energy vibe ad for the Instagram just because it's owned by Mark the Cuck Zuck. If you want to get in touch with the show, go to toosoonpodcastsucks@gmail.com. We are also on YouTube somewhere. Somebody out there created some sort of stratosphere for us out there. And a couple of videos up on BitChute as well. Yeah, I don't know. What's going to happen this Wednesday, Casey?
Well, I'm smoking meats now.
Wait, what?
No, it's a Zuckerberg meme when he just keeps saying "smoke meats."
I have not seen
and
that.
Sweet Baby Ray's. Yeah, he
Jones
went live.
barbecue and foot massage.
He went live on Facebook and he's like, "Yeah, I'm smoking meats now. We got some brisket with some Sweet Baby Ray's."
Oh, god damn
Yeah.
it. I did see that. What
And
the
someone
fuck?
did a supercut of every time he says smoking meats and Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah, someone asked me, do I smoke meat? Smoking meat. Smoking these meats. Smoking meats earlier in the day. Smoking these meats.
Well, you heard it here, motherfuckers.
Watch that video. It's not hard to find.
Juicy. Sweet Baby Ray's. Love you guys.
Bye!
Bye-bye.
Bye.
TSP boys are at it again.
Who that? Who there?
It's the motherfucking Too Soon Podcast.
No, I heard you said a bunch of words, right?
Stop making fun of me.
I don't care. If you're wearing headphones, take them the fuck out.
What is that? The future of radio, you jabronis. Jabronis. Cool word.
Don't like it?